I want to start with you because, especially considering your expertise in counterterrorism, I can't help but thinking back over the course of the past 10 years or so at the change in approach of rhetoric from Republicans in particular towards the Department of Justice and the FBI, and the levels of doubt that are being cast on organizations that, you know, they had typically really staunchly defended in an era when we were focusing on the war on terror. What's your view on that shift and how it's impacting our country?
Well, first, let me start by giving congratulations to Master Chief Sablinski, our newest Medal of Honor winner. And when he started in the SEAL teams and DevGru operations out in Afghanistan in 2002, our entire focus was to bring the entirety of U.S. intelligence into a laser-like product that would allow him to carry out missions like the rescue mission that he did up in the mountains at 10,000 feet in Afghanistan. How that has shifted over the last, not even 10 years, I would say that it's shifted over the last 5 or 6 years to where there's almost been a hostility to the FBI and their mission. And only since the election of Donald Trump has that turned, moved from hostility into outright open warfare against the law enforcement bodies of the country. And there's only one explanation that can be had for that the administration and the president has something they want to hide from U.S. law enforcement and U.S. intelligence. And the way that they're going to do it is they're going to burn those institutions to the ground. That's an anathema to everything that we believe in, and it only makes people in law enforcement and agencies like the Bureau just a lot more suspicious.
This is actually, I'm glad that you raised those points. I asked the House Speaker, Paul Ryan, about this a little bit earlier today, and he was remarkably definitive in his answer about any lasting damage. Take a look, and then we'll talk about it.
You honestly believe that there was spies?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Do you think that the president has done any lasting damage to the FBI?
No, I do not believe that that is the case. I do believe every institution here will ultimately be healed and made better when the application of oversight and transparency and accounting occur. So yes, I think we have strong institutions in this country. They're going to endure any kind of test.
Stanley Pottinger, he told me straight up, no, I don't believe there's any lasting damage here. Do you agree?
Well, I know there isn't for this reason. By the way, let me endorse what Malcolm said about our latest Medal of Honor winner. Perfectly said. Thank you for doing that. No, here's what happens, and this is the advantage and disadvantage of being old like me. I once investigated the FBI for violations that were extreme compared to what we're talking about today, and it didn't ruin them. I'm talking about COINTELPRO, where the FBI didn't not only investigate, but it took affirmative actions against the Ku Klux Klan, which everybody was happy about, SDS, the Communist Party, Socialist Party, various groups, and the Church Committee undertook an enormous investigation of them. The FBI under Hoover was badly discredited. Some people still remember that. It didn't ruin the FBI. Did it hurt them for a while? Yes. Did it hurt rank and file? Probably did a little bit of morale damage, but it's a basic institution that is not going to go away, and it's certainly not going to be damaged by this. I think that the reason for the White House people being in the first meeting, or any of these meetings, and by the way, there does need to be bipartisanship here. The reason for it is not mysterious. First of all, the White House needs to know what it is that it supposedly is in these files. Why wouldn't it want to know? It would want to know that whether the president was being accused of something or not. And secondly, we seem to be forgetting that documents that are in the Justice Department can be declassified by, guess who? The President of the United States. It's not as though he's on the outside. He needs to know what it is that he may have to be asked, or that he may declassify and be asked to declassify. And he needs to know how to do it in such a way that it doesn't give up sources and methods, which he would never want to do, I hope. That would be a big mistake.
Well, I mean, but that's exactly what we're talking about here, right? We're talking about a source, specifically this FBI informant who was providing source material.
Yes, exactly. So what you need to do is know exactly what that is about, what kind of information is in it, what gets redacted and does not get redacted, and you also have to keep in mind something that all of us know whether we admit it or not, and that is that whatever is sent to the Hill, whether it's Republicans or Democrats, it's going to leak.
Well, that is certainly fair enough. Malcolm Nance, can I get you to respond to what Mr. Pottinger was saying there, that this idea that, maybe the FBI has bounced back from worse?
Well, he's absolutely right. The FBI has bounced back from worse, certainly during the J. Edgar Hoover period. But let me say this. The Bureau is a relatively conservative organization. I know in the run-up to the election, all of my friends over at the Bureau were staunchly in the Trump camp. But they believe in something a little higher than whoever's sitting in the seat of the President of the United States. When they're crossed on a matter of law, when they have someone who is out and resisting investigation, who is trying to tear down the leadership, they get really institutional. And in this case, Robert Mueller, who is almost above reproach, there's virtually nothing anyone can say about him, took on this investigation. It was not in order to protect someone in a particular party. It was designed to protect the nation. And I think that the next time that people want to badmouth the Bureau, whether it's the president or somebody else, you're right. I think that the Bureau will bounce back because there will be an act of terrorism, which the Bureau will either stop or will have to respond to. And then people will understand what the FBI is really about. But if they resist the law in this investigation, well, then there's just going to have to be a reckoning from a political perspective on whether they stand for the law enforcement of the United States or they're going to abuse it.